We're going to do the second part of the Automoblox Windshield. It is in Activity 5.2b, Introduction to CAD Modeling Skills, and it really just explains the rest of kind of dimensions in the Unit 5 Automoblox T9 dimension drawings packet. So in that packet we have page 3. At the bottom of page 3, windshield. And this is where we look at for the rest of the dimensions we need. So we have our upper part of the windshield. Now we're going to need the part that joins into the passenger section of the Automoblox car. In order to do that, we're going to have to create a new sketch plane that is, let me show you, that is offset from this bottom plane and comes down here, so that we can draw our rectangle on it and extrude it up towards the windshield. So in order to do that, let's change our view that we're looking at. We're going to go to Work Features here and select a plane. One of the first choices is Offset from Plane. We want a work plane offset from this plane. How much do we want it offset? Well, we pull it down and we can see. Look at our dimensions drawings. The top view, we can see offset from that plane is 0.67 inches. Now from there, on that plane, we're going to draw that rectangle with the fillets, offset, and all those little, I'll call them nubbins. So let's put a 2D sketch on there. Piece of paper to draw on. It's turned just like the picture in our dimension drawings on page 3. I'm going to need a rectangle in here. Let me just grab a rectangle. I'm going to draw it any particular place. I'm just going to stick it in there. We're going to put dimensions on it. I think it's important to point out right early that if you look at those drawings, all our dimensions are measured off of this front edge and this bottom edge. So in order to kind of remind myself of that, I'm going to use this project geometry button. I'm going to project this outside edge. I'm going to project this lower edge, and then I'm going to dimension all of that rectangle and those nubbins off of that. So here we go, dimensions. Front edge of this part to the front edge of this rectangle. Front end of this part to the back end of that rectangle is going to be 2.22. Bottom edge of the part, bottom edge of the rectangle, it's going to be 0.29. Bottom edge of the part to the top edge of the rectangle is going to be 2.26. Enter. That looks about right. That's the last thing we do. We're going to need to put those fillets on before we offset it so that we can have the inside of that rectangle. So next step, fillets. So we should be in our sketch, should be over here in our sketch, and here's our fillet command up here in our draw window. We'll have to look at that page to find our dimension for the fillets. It is in our front view, upper right hand side. The note is 4 times R.5. 0.15. On each of those fillets. There we go. I'm done with fillets for right now. I'll get rid of them. The next thing we should do before we put these little nubbins on, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, 1 on either side, we're going to offset this filleted rectangle. So in my Modify tab, I'm going to select Offset. What do I want to offset? This rectangle. And you can kind of see I can offset it out or I can offset it in. I'm just going to come in a little bit and click. Green means it's unconstrained, so I'm going to grab a dimension and I'm going to put the dimension between the inside and outside rectangle, the thickness. So where am I going to find that thickness? I'm going to look at detail B, which is to the right side of the front view. And what that is that's an exploded kind of a big view of that small area in the front view. And zoomed in like that, it shows me that that wall thickness is 0.05. Now remember, if I'm going too fast for you, you can always pause or rewind. Okay, that gives me my overall filleted rectangle with my offset. That looks good. And now I need those little nubbin things. And if you look at your drawing, you can see I've got some construction lines that they are dimensioned off of. So construction lines, that is over here. Format, construction. To get a line, I'm going to have to go over to grab a line. So line, construction. One of them goes right through the middle of this thing. So to get to the middle, I'm going to see that green dot come up? That stands for the middle. Click. I'm just going to draw it straight across, make sure it is a perpendicular line. There's one of our construction lines. Then I have two other construction lines that just go vertically. Those don't go to any midpoint or anything, so I'm just going to draw them in random spots and put dimensions on them. So two vertical lines. Oop, that one wasn't quite vertical. I'm going to have to get rid of that one. Undo. There we go. Let's try it again. My cursor steady when I select, escape. There's my construction lines. This one's light blue, meaning it's fully constrained. These two need dimensions. So I'm going to draw from the front edge of my part to this construction line. Look at my drawing. This first one is 0.95 from the front edge. Dimension the next one, front of the part. Oh, not the front of the rectangle. You're going to make the mistake and be frustrated. You want to go from the front end of the part to the construction line. And when you do that, that dimension should be 1.94. Go. If you look at your drawing, those seem like they're appropriately placed. So now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to zoom into one of these spots where I need to build one of those nubbins. So we're looking at detail B. It's kind of blown up. I have the construction line that shows me where the center of that rectangle is. So let's draw a rectangle. Let's look at the kind of rectangles we can draw. It allows me to draw a 2-point center. Watch how I can do this. I can come here, this front intersection here, I can draw a rectangle, and I'll save the dimensions. Oh, I left the construction rectangle on. Let me undo that. I'm going to turn off my construction lines, draw a rectangle. There's my rectangle. Put my dimensions on it. This dimension is pretty straightforward. This is 0.05. And then the next dimension goes from the front of this part to the back offset rectangle. So look at your 0.09 from the front to the back. Once I do that, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab my trim command and trim this line, and 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 this line. And that's just going to leave that little nubbin out. So when I select this inside of this offset to extrude, it's going to select this area too. So I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, but watch as I do it. I'm going to do it again over here. I'm going to draw a rectangle, center rectangle. Those two dimensions on it. Okay. From the front of the rectangle to the back of my set rectangle. Some trimming. This line, this line, this line, this line. Yeah, that leaves me with just the nubbin. We get the same nubbins up here. I'll do two more. I'll show you kind of a little trick. Rectangle, centered here. Edge, the back edge. Trim. So I guess now's a good time to show you one of those little tricks. all I want to do is I want to copy this thing right here. So look at my Modify tab. Here's Copy. I copy. What do I want to copy? I want to copy this, this, and this. Well, what's the base point you're going to copy from? So select base point. I want to move it from the middle of this. Where are you going to move it to? I want to move it over here, where these two intersect. I'm going to trim this line right here and this line right here, just like that. Now watch this last trick that I have here. Now you saw how easy that was to copy. Well, let me try. I need two more on the bottom side, so here's what I'm going to do. I am going to mirror pattern. Pattern, mirror. What do I want to mirror? I want to mirror this, this, and this, this, and this. There's your mirror line. Back out a little bit. Mirror line is this center line right here. Apply. You can see these pop in right down here. Done. So now I'm going to zoom into these. And I'm going to trim these inside lines right here. Like that. There are my nubbins. 6 nubbins, all set. Looks good. Finish sketch. I want to extrude that rectangle. Extrude, select the profile, this space in here. I don't want to cut down here. I want it to go in the opposite direction. I don't want it to go through this part. In fact, let's go to the front and see what it looks like. I want it to go to the inside face of there. So look, rather than distance on my extents, I can go down and say to the next face. Okay, let's take a look at it. It's nice. When I can get rid of this work plane, at least make it invisible. Right click on work plane, turn off its visibility. That looks good. I'm going to change my material to polycarbonate clear so that I can see through it. And then I want to change the color on it so that it's polycarbonate, it's clear green. Let's see if I can find that. Clear green. Ooh, nice, just like our Automoblox. So let me go back to my home view, and that is the finished Automoblox windshield.